Rick, call me right now.
Good morning, America. Breaking news. President Trump set to declare a national emergency this morning over the border wall, bypassing Congress in an unprecedented move. Now even Republicans lashing out over the president's plan. We're live in Washington with the latest.
Also this morning, a major new twist in the Jussie Smollett case. The two men seen in this surveillance footage brought in for questioning, their homes raided, and now both Chicago police and the studio behind Empire responding to those new reports that it was all a hoax.
That monster storm on the move. Heavy rain slamming California, sparking mudslides sweeping away this home as rescue crews race to save those trapped. And now the storm is heading east.
Also this morning, 9 fraternity brothers now facing charges for a series of horrendous hazing incidents just a year after a pledge died at the same university.
ABC News exclusive, Grammy-nominated superstar 21 Savage speaking out in his first television interview since being arrested and detained for being in the country illegally.
And good to be alive. The jogger who escaped the jaws of a mountain lion with his bare hands, now telling his amazing survival story.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Good morning, America. It's great to have you with us on this Friday morning. It's also great to have you here, Cecilia.
Thank you. It's a busy Friday morning.
It's a very busy Friday morning. We're going to begin with that breaking news from Washington, looking live at the White House, where President Trump will sign the border deal to keep the government open this morning, but also declare a national emergency, an attempt to bypass Congress so he can get funds for his border wall.
The move already sparking fierce backlash, not just from Democrats, but from some in the president's own party. Our chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl, has the very latest. John, this is setting a stage for a very nasty showdown between the White House and Congress.
A showdown with Congress and, Cecilia, a showdown with the courts. This morning, the president plans to announce an end round around Congress, spending billions more on his border wall than Congress has approved. This morning, President Trump plans to declare a national emergency as a way to get billions more in funding for his border wall.
And it's a big wall. It's a strong wall. You're going to have to be in extremely good shape to get over this one. They would be able to climb Mount Everest a lot easier, I think.
It's a highly controversial move, sure to be challenged in court, but one the president has been telegraphing for weeks.
We're either going to have a win or I will declare a national emergency.
But a win he didn't get. Congress approving only a fraction of what he wanted for the wall.
They did a spectacular job.
Overnight, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and House Democrats celebrated the passage of the 1,100-page funding bill, averting another shutdown.
Neither Democrats or Republicans got everything you wanted.
ABC News has learned the president will declare his plans to spend a total of $8 billion on the wall, even more than he had asked for, in part by declaring the national emergency and shifting billions of dollars from the Pentagon's budget. Democrats say that would be an abuse of power and set a dangerous new precedent.
It's not an emergency, what's happening at the border. It's a humanitarian challenge to us. The president has tried to sell a bill of goods to American people. The president is doing an end run about Congress, about the power of the purse.
ABC News has learned that the Justice Department has warned the White House that the president's national emergency declaration would almost certainly be blocked, at least on a temporary basis, by the courts. White House officials, however, tell me they are confident that they would ultimately win this on appeal. Cecilia and George?
Okay, John, hang on there, because we want to bring in Mary Bruce to talk about the legal and the political challenges along with you. And Mary, let me begin with you on some of the political challenges. We've already seen House Speaker Nancy Pelosi say she's going to challenge this.
Yeah, look, George, Congress does have the power to undo this. And this morning, Democrats are preparing to try and do just that. They can introduce a resolution to terminate the president's national emergency. And given the outcry that we're seeing from Democrats, it does seem likely it would pass in the House. But that would then put Republicans in the Senate in a very tricky position, forcing them to go on the record on this. And George, while Republican leadership is now on board, there are members of the president's own party that I've talked to who say this sets a terrible precedent, that it is a mistake, even saying it is a violation of the Constitution.
But Mary, even if some Republicans defect in the Senate, they're not going to have enough votes to override a veto from President Trump.
Yeah, look, the president can veto this. And so if Democrats hope to win this in the long run, if they want to ultimately thwart the president from making this move, they're going to need enough votes to override that veto. And, George, that is a very, very high bar here.
So, John, then let's look back at the legal challenges. You were talking about the White House view on that. If Congress passes this resolution, the House could sue them. They'd have standing to sue. But that's just one of many legal challenges that are possible.
Oh, absolutely, George. The Attorney General of California, for instance, Javier Becerra, has already said that he will go to court to fight this. You will also have certainly challenges coming from those on the border, landowners that are affected by it, even environmental challenges. This will be tied up in the courts from the minute the president signs it.
And that means they could block the construction of the wall for some time as it works its way through the courts, almost certain to go to the Supreme Court.
Yes, what the Justice Department said in their warning is that you are likely to see at least a temporary injunction stopping this as the court challenges go forward. But remember, George, the president has faced challenges like this before in his use of executive action, including with the travel ban. And in that case, he ultimately won at the Supreme Court.
Lots of fights ahead. John Carl, Mary Bruce, thanks very much.
All right, well, thank you, George. And now to those fast-moving developments in the Jussie Smollett case. Police have now identified and are questioning those two persons of interest caught on surveillance footage the night Jussie said he was attacked. But they're also questioning whether the attack even happened. ABC's Alex Perez in Chicago with the very latest. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Authorities have been questioning those two men since Wednesday. They've known who they are for a while, but waited for them to return from a trip to Nigeria before talking to them. Overnight, investigators on the Jussie Smollett case telling us they've identified the two people of interest seen on the surveillance image. Police confirming the two men have been brought in for questioning, and one of the men is an actor who appeared on Smollett's show Empire. It's the kind of song that makes a man love a man. The men were picked up by authorities Wednesday at the airport after returning from Nigeria. Thursday, Smollett discussing that surveillance image with our Robin Roberts.
When that was released, I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. I don't have any doubt in my mind that that's them. Never did.
Police telling ABC News that they are investigating whether the two individuals committed the attack or whether the attack happened at all. Late Thursday, media reports surfaced claiming Smollett staged the attack, saying his character on Fox's Empire would be written off the show. And then 20th Century Fox Television and Fox Entertainment strongly denying in a statement the idea that Jussie Smollett has been or would be written off of Empire is patently ridiculous. He remains a core player on this very successful series, and we continue to stand by him. Police also stating overnight on the record that we have no evidence to support their reporting and their supposed CPD sources are uninformed and inaccurate.
Who the would make something like this up or add something to it or whatever it may be? I can't even, I'm an advocate. I respect too much the people who I am now one of those people who have been attacked in any way. You do such a disservice when you lie about things like this.
Phone records provided by the actor, police say, prove he was on the phone with his manager at the time of the reported attack. Authorities raided the home of those two people of interest, taking shoes, electronic devices, and other items police believe could be key to the investigation. So far, no charges have been filed. And it's important to note those two men that authorities are talking to have not been named as suspects in the investigation. Guys?
So many more questions on that case right now.
Turned into a show of its own, actually.
Certainly has. Our thanks to Alex for that. We are going to turn now to that major storm on the move, leaving so much destruction in California. Powerful rain triggering deadly flash flooding and mudslides, forcing thousands to evacuate. And take a look at this. A hillside in Lake Elsinore giving way, taking a wall and the roof right off of that house. Our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, is there with more. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Cecilia. We are talking about rain and flooding in biblical proportions. I want you to see this house. About 10 feet of sediment were taken out by the flash flood. Here it is teetering on the edge, and I'm basically standing in what had been somebody's backyard. Now, I want to show you with the second camera the breadth of what this flash flood had taken out. This is about 50 yards wide. It was about 10 feet high, and this is just one of dozens of communities affected here.
This morning, that deadly atmospheric assault on California. So much water coursing down mountains, a waterfall forming, gouging out an entire portion of this roadway. In Riverside and San Bernardino counties, dozens of people rescued by air and boat from fast-moving waters. This man lifted to safety after being stranded on what had been islands in a dry creek bed. In Corona, California, one person rescued from floodwaters did not survive. Watch as this car, which had been stuck, washes away in the rapids in Palm Desert. And in Palm Springs, the Whitewater River swallowing the Indian Canyon Boulevard, and a separate channel flooded near the San Jacinto Mountains. A woman riding on a city bus from Oakland to San Francisco, capturing the driver going against protocol, driving through floodwaters so high the water seeped in through the doors. Nearby in Sausalito, saturated ground giving way. Listen as a woman cries for help. She's pinned under her home, covered with debris. Deputies racing to rescue Susan Gordon, who is miraculously expected to be okay.
All right. Now, I want to give you a sense, Cecilia, for what a nightmare this cycle of fire and rain has been for folks here. We believe that these people evacuated, but about only 25% of the residents in Lake Elsinore evacuated after these flash floods or before these flash floods, and that's because this was the 6th evacuation, mandatory evacuation, in just the past couple of months here. Officials are worried about what's called evacuation fatigue. Cecilia.
And we are certainly wishing them well this morning. Okay, Matt, thank you. Let's head over to Ginger. Ginger, the storm is bringing that rain and snow east this morning.
It is, and we'll see snow and rain in the forecast. But first, let me show you the pictures out of Palm Springs. That's the 3rd wettest day on record. So this is a big deal out there. Sausalito, where you had those mudslides. Just to give you an idea of what San Francisco's at, 112% of their normal for this water year. So since last fall, this is really good for replenishing aquifers and such, but really bad, obviously, when it comes to mudslides. 2 lows that we're watching. This one here in the plains in the kind of the desert southwest that's coming out, going to impact from Montana to Kentucky. And let me show you how and why. St. Louis gets the snow this afternoon, so around lunchtime. Paducah, Louisville gets it tonight. Then we see another one slide through. These are more southern, these tracks of these storms. So Ohio through Pennsylvania, even the mid-Atlantic from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia on Sunday night into Monday morning. Guys?
So much is coming. Okay, Ginger, thanks very much. We're going to move on now to that hazing scandal at Louisiana State University. 9 fraternity members have been arrested, accused of disturbing crimes against pledges. ABC's Gio Benitez here with the details. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, George, good morning. The school was already in the headlines following the death of a pledge at another fraternity. And now this morning, we are learning about some incredibly disturbing allegations. Former fraternity brothers now face serious charges. This morning, these 9 fraternity brothers are now facing charges in a violent hazing incident at Louisiana State University. Several former members of the now closed Delta Kappa Epsilon fraternity are accused of criminal hazing, second-degree battery, false imprisonment, and other charges. According to police warrants, pledges claim they were told to lie down on broken glass, forced to sit in an ice machine for more than 30 minutes, punched and kicked with steel-toed boots in an incident that allegedly took place last fall. LSU releasing a statement saying this type of behavior is unacceptable and at complete odds with what we expect from our students. It does not belong at LSU. This latest incident coming just a year after Max Groover died pledging a different fraternity at LSU. His family working with the state to enact new strict anti-hazing legislation in Louisiana.
You would think that people would have heeded that warning that bad things can happen when you folks are hazed, but apparently, at least by the allegations, they're still ongoing and they're quite dangerous.
And in the latest LSU case, the executive director of the fraternity's national chapter says it supports all efforts to hold individuals accountable and eradicate hazing from college campuses. Again, that LSU fraternity has now been closed.
To start at least.
Yeah.
Okay, Gio, thanks very much.
All right, thank you, Gio. And now to the new fallout over Amazon's decision to pull their plans for a New York headquarters. We're now learning more about where those 25,000 jobs will go. ABC's Stephanie Ramos has the latest. Good morning, Stephanie.
Hey there, Michael. Good morning. Just across the water behind me, that's where Amazon's expansive corporate campus would have been built in New York's Long Island City. But Amazon received some serious backlash, and essentially why they backed out, receiving some serious backlash from local politicians who questioned why the company was set to gain $3 billion in government incentives. But Amazon promised New York 25,000 jobs over time. Now, the company says those technology jobs that were slated for New York offices are going to spread those across the U.S. and Canada, including Chicago, Austin, Texas, and Toronto. Now, they do have about 5,000 employees spread out across the New York City area. Amazon says they'll continue growing those teams, but right now they say they do not intend on starting a new search for a New York location. Michael?
All right, thank you, Stephanie. A lot of disappointment on both sides.
Yeah, it was a huge turnaround, a real surprise to New York, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of backlash in that community for that one, too. Now, with just 9 days to go, let's shift gears here. Until the Oscars, some of the biggest names in Hollywood are protesting. George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Kerry Washington, and dozens of others signing an open letter bashing the Academy's decision to hand out some awards during commercial breaks. Who is not here during a commercial break? Yeah. TJ Holmes, breaking it down.
This is a mess.
Yeah.
We have another backlash with the Oscars once again. You're talking about names like Scorsese, right? Tarantino, current nominees like Spike Lee, Emma Stone, they're all signed on to this letter. Why are they all upset? It's because now we have an open revolt, if you will, because the Academy made a decision this week, announced that they would take 4 categories out of the live broadcast. They wouldn't present editing, live action short, hair and makeup, and cinematography. That's the one that really upset people. These are the ones responsible for filming the doggone thing. We wouldn't see the movie if it's not for them. So they're taking them out of the live broadcast. This open letter, listen to this. They said relegating these essential cinematic crafts to lesser status at this ceremony is nothing less than an insult to those of us who have devoted our lives and passions to our chosen profession. So why did the Academy do this? Well, they say they're trying to cut down on time.
Speed it up, yeah.
Speed it up. It's a historically long broadcast. George can't stay up for 4 hours. We need a 3-hour show, okay? That's part of the reason, but the other reason they keep tweaking this show is because ratings. Ratings have been down historically. Last year was the lowest rated Oscars on record. So they keep tweaking, so they're not gonna budge. This open letter, they're asking them, you have time to change it? The Academy says no. You will still see the speeches later in the broadcast. They could be edited. So they're going to happen during the commercial breaks. We'll edit them, take out the walk to and from stage, they say, but they still have the discretion to edit the speech if they want to, but it's an insult to some of these folks.
I'm going to risk displaying more cluelessness here.
Okay. Oh, sure.
I understand the problem with taking the cinematography out, but this backlash seems like fierce. Like, is it out of proportion?
I wouldn't say it's an open revolt. This is your craft. This is supposed to be a celebration of the arts, not an entertainment show, right? We're in TV. It's supposed to be entertainment. But for those folks who work their whole lives to get this moment, right, to celebrate the arts, we're telling you your art isn't worth being in the live broadcast.
Everybody needs their moment.
Yeah, that's all.
You just had yours.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, TJ. All right, we got to go back to Ginger with another storm that's coming to the west. What you got, Ginger?
We're going to go ahead and move on because we've talked so much about California snow. You have to know that these have been impacting Colorado, too. Steamboat Springs has actually had 19 feet of snow this season. That is an average of snow every other day. And yes, there is more to come where it's still raining and snowing in California. This all moves east, and just north of Denver, where Steamboat is, you get more snow, too. Your weekend getaways now, brought to you by Verizon Wireless.
Only Verizon was ranked #1 by RootMetrics. #1 in 3 Open Signal Mobile Experience Awards. #1 in video streaming according to Nielsen. And #1 in network quality according to J.D. Power. We're proud to be the only network to win in all 4 major awards. Not because of what it says about us, but what it means for every one of our customers. Choose America's most reliable network and get Apple Music on us when you do.
make plans to get out today. It is going to be an amazing Friday. Temperatures will rise to 62 degrees, maybe a little bit of sunshine trying to filter through those clouds. A little breezy too during the afternoon hours. Now this is the area for early Saturday, well south of I-66, where there might be a little snow that falls, but with warm road temperatures, don't think we'll have any issues. Sunday after lunchtime, a little bit of a wintry mix. It's a 30% chance dry on Monday. For President's Day, the high close to 50.
Coming up, our ABC News exclusive, the Grammy-nominated rapper arrested for being here illegally is now speaking out.
And the man who fought a mountain lion with his bare hands is now telling his story.
And you guys, you know the dance. Oh yeah, we have the new twist and the Carlton case. We'll be right back.